Alright folks, we are back here. Finally, we come to the funnest part and the best part of a guitar build. And then we're going to apply the finish, the oil, on the body of the guitar. Yes. Now, I've done all the crowning and dressing and conditioning of the fretboard already. So the fretboard is totally nice right now. Very nice. It's all smooth. There's no sharp edges on the frets anymore. It's all nice and smooth now. And the fretboard itself is oiled. Well, it's, I don't want to say, it is a type of oil, but it's a restorative and a conditioner. So I did that, and it's just looking so nice right now. So, yeah. Alright guys, we're going to start with the processes of doing the finishing on the body. So, we're going to do that right now. Let's get to it. Alright folks, so first step is to clear off the workbench and brush it off until you see no dust coming off. And then we take paper towels and we lay them out like this all the way to the end of the bench top, like this. And I like to just overlay them like this. There we go. I like to use paper towels to soak up any unwanted excess oil on the body as I'm going along. We are not going to be applying the finish with paper towels. I explained in my last video when we finished the back plate that I do not like using paper towels for finish. But so we got the paper towels right there. And we got the neck rest, and we got the guitar right here. So basically what we're going to be doing is, what you now want to do is take a brush and just brush off the body as much as you possibly can. Brush it off. You can use a tack cloth if you choose to do so. I just like using brushes. But again, it doesn't matter what you use, as long as you get all the sticky elements or dust elements off. Try to get in all the cavities, blow out everything. Everything you possibly can. Now, the good thing about the shop that I'm in now is it's very still in here. There's no draft or wind or anything like that. It's just still. So, you know, anything that moves is just going to be from either my breath or me moving around like this, right? So I don't have to worry about dust going everywhere, and you know, it settles pretty fast, so that's a good thing. So I sanded this down to a 320 grit sandpaper, which is the finest I go with doing oil on a body. You don't want to sand too high a grit, because you want the oil to soak in as much as possible. So what we got here is true oil. Again, this is the same process as yesterday's video. We're going to use fire again, folks. Hold on. I got to get this off. And again, I'm not putting the flame on the cap. It's about an inch or two away from the cap. That way you ensure that you don't catch the oil on fire. Right? Another thing to remember is don't do this like I just did over your workspace. I had complete control over where I was going, so Again, once you guys, if you're new to guitar building or want to do lutherie, over time you will gain confidence and control in yourself where you can do this stupid shit, right? And there won't be any problems. Trust me. You're going to want to get some experience. Now, what we want to do is get a rag, like so. I got to try to find my hook. Alright folks, we're back. Sorry about that. I was looking for my hook for the thing, but I can't seem to find it. But that's okay. We don't really need it at the moment. And it's fine anyway because, yeah, we don't need it at the moment. Anyway, so what you do is you take a rag like this, and then we're going to cut it just like we did on the other video. This one, just cut it. You don't need too much. Just like that. There we go. Put this one aside, and then wipe off if you got any lint or whatever extra fluff. Just blow it off. Anyway, so again, fold it out, and then we're going to cut in half. Just like this. There we go. So now we have a dry rag and one you're going to be using for oil. Now, this is all cleaned off. What we need to do for this one, we're going to fold this way, then fold down, just like that. It's a flat surface. It's a tool rather than being scrunched up. So that helps with basically a good finish. So here we go. We have true oil. And now I know what you're saying. You're saying, oh, you idiot. You forgot to drill the screw holes for the pickup surrounds, you fool. That's the good thing about oil, is that you don't have to wait to drill holes with oil because you don't have to worry about lacquer or urethane chipping during the drilling process because it is a softer finish. So I'm going to do the drilling out once I fit the pickups themselves. So that's why. Anyway, flood the sumbitch. Flood the motherfucker. Just flood it. Like the Hoover Dam, you just want to flood it. There you go. Now, take the rag and just go. You don't even have to wait for anything. Just go. Just flood it. And you want to get as much coverage as you possibly can. Just like this. And guys, don't worry about getting oil into the holes here. Honestly, really don't. Because that will disappear. If you're really, really worried about it, you can get it out. But honestly, it really doesn't matter. Now, I say this is the funnest and best part of a build for a reason. Look at this transformation. Look at that. It's amazing. It is just absolutely fantastic how wood can transform like this from a dull sort of a dullish, you know, kind of, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, we're going to do this. I'm sorry if you can't really see what I'm doing right now. But basically I'm getting the sides right now. And parts where the oil dripped down. A dull, dry look. That's what I was trying to say, folks. A dull, dried look. Because you don't really want that in guitar building. You want something that the finish is going to pop with, but something that's also not going to be in the, a pain in the rear end down the line to do. So, as you can see, that's all flooded. Now what we can do is take some sandpaper. Again, I like to use 1200 grit and just go around it like this and just sand it down very lightly. You don't want to go too hard on this stuff. You just want to go very, 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 very lightly. And this will ultimately give you a better finish in the end. Just look at that though. I mean, the transformation is unbelievable. And the grain just pops. You can see it popping. Now that's not tacky enough for me yet. So we're going to add just a little bit more. You don't need a whole lot this time around because we're just going to use the sandpaper to kind of lubricate where we're going to sand here. So all we're doing is lubricating. And this will give you a better finish. Again, this is a fantastic way to apply finish to a guitar. And the good thing about doing this, sanding it like this with 1200 and using the oil itself as a lubricant, is that the sandpaper won't leave swirl marks. So that's a good thing, because you don't want swirl marks. And look at that transformation, folks. Look at it. It is just fantastic. And you can actually see right here where the grain is actually popped. You know, there's more of a 3D effect, right? So we just want to check for how tacky it's getting. There is resistance to the touch, so that means it is tacky enough now to wipe it down. And all we're doing is rubbing it. Basically, we're polishing it. That's basically what we're doing, polishing it. Now this is going to take 4, 5, 6, sometimes even, depending on how glossy you want it, it could take up to 14 coats. But I like mine to have a kind of semi-gloss sheen to it. That's just my preference. And all we're doing is rubbing it down, polishing it as we go. And you could just see how spectacular this looks straight out of the gate. Now, That's dry to the touch now. I can touch it without getting oil on my finger, right? That's what you want to do. You want to rub it out. Ha ha ha. He said rub it out. You want to rub it down until it's dry to the touch. The oil is still in the wood, so don't worry about wondering, oh, am I gonna wipe off the oil and remove it? You're not gonna remove the oil. It's already in there. But that gives it its nice color and its nice sheen, and that's what you want. So now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna clean up the holes now. You don't have to worry about it. It will disappear, but you know, just for it looking good, for reference, you do want to kind of just clean it up a little bit. You don't have to go nuts over it, though. Trust me. And then basically clean up the excess in the cavities here. And the cavities don't have to be perfect either, because there's going to be pickup surrounds anyway. So you really don't have to worry about cavities so much, really. But I like to do everything, even the cavities, because you want as much of the wood soaked in as possible. Because that's, well, A, it gives it strength. It gives the wood itself strength, because there is something that is solidifying in the wood. And B, it's just a nicer presentation, really. So, and there we go. Go around the edges, make sure there's nothing there. Now what we can do is we can turn the guitar over and do the back side. But I mean, this is just incredible. The transformation itself is just unreal. And what we want to do now is do the back. So again, same process, just flood it. Don't worry about stuff, just flood it. And just rub it down. The good thing also about oil is that you don't really have to worry about getting the oil everywhere, because you're going to be covering the whole freaking thing anyway, and it's going to take many coats to do so. So you don't have to be like, oh, it's dripping down the side. Oh no, I ruined it. It's dripping down the side, or it's dripping down whatever part of the guitar you don't want it to drip. You don't have to worry about that, because in the end, you're going to be covering the guitar anyway. So it really doesn't matter, and that's the joy. That's another joy about using this stuff. The lack of worrying. You do not have to worry. I love it. All right. And then if you get some on the front again, you just, again, you wipe it. Because you're going to be doing coats anyway. So you might as well give it a second coat, a thin second coat while you're at it. Right? So there we go. Like I said, this stuff goes a very long way. A very, 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 very long way. It only takes one flooding to get where you want to be as far as coats are concerned, because once you flood it, it's sealed, and then you can apply the build-up coats after that. And once you build up the build-up coats, that's what gives it the sheen and the protection. But the main protection comes from it flooding into the thing. But you guys probably knew that. That is tacky, so let's start off with the one with the side that's has the least on it, which is this side. And again, we're polishing. We're polishing it. We're not lightly removing, we're polishing. Oh, I bumped the camera, I'm sorry. But that's just looking beautiful. It's amazing what oil can do, honestly. It really is amazing. And then we're gonna polish this out. This is sticky. All we're doing is polishing it out. But just look at that, huh? Just look at that transformation. It is absolutely wonderful. Now we still have to sand, do the oil sanding on this side, but we're gonna get all the excess off first here. Just so it's ready to go. I mean, this is just looking incredible right now. Incredible. And, you know, I honestly hate saying that about my own shit, but it is a fact. This is looking really good right now. So, it's not so much an ego thing, it's an observation, really. Alright, so now we've got that. And periodically, you're going to want to clean your hands off, because if you, say you touch the fretboard with oily hands, now your fretboard has true oil on it, which you don't want, especially if you just put some restorative on it or conditioner. So, you know, from time to time, clean your hands off so they're dry. They might be sticky, but it'll be dry to the touch, so you don't have to worry about getting oil or anything on your fretboard itself. So that's dry to the touch. And then you're just going to want to wipe it down in case any dust did fly in it, because that can happen. It's common for, if you're in a room, you know, that doesn't have extraction in it, or particle extraction or whatever, then you're just going to want to lightly wipe it down. Just lightly. And there we go. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to do the same sanding process on the back as what we did in the front. So you just take a little bit. You only need a little tiny bit here. Just a tiny bit. And there we go. And now we wipe it down. This time you don't have to really wait, because your initial soak-in process has already started. So you don't have to wait for this one. You just wipe it down right away. But I can already feel how much smoother it is just by doing that. It's absolutely amazing. Again, this is my favorite part of the build right here. The finish. I love the finish. And just make sure you didn't get any on the sides by wiping it down and wiping off the sides here. And there we go. Now what we can do now is get into the cavity here, the control cavity, and just get in there. Doesn't have to be perfect because again we're going to be covering it with shielding tape anyway. So, but again, for presentation wise, it's always good to be 100% with things rather than half-assing it. So I just like to get as much in there as I can. And there we go. And then you're going to want to take your rag again. This time we're going to turn it over, like so. And just go around the edge where you might have gotten oil. And just wipe it down. Now, your cloth, there might be little bits of cloth that comes out if you're using like a cotton cloth or whatever. There might be little bits that just pop out and there's white spots, but again, because it's not a lacquer and because it's not a urethane, you don't really have to worry about it because you'll be able to blow it off right away in this process, and you'll be able to wipe it off right away. I can't stress enough how awesome True Oil is, or any oil finish. I really can't stress it enough. It is just fantastic. And with that being said, our first coat in this process is done. Now I'm not going to record doing the other coats because you really don't need to see that. You saw what you needed to see from my spectrum. So yeah, we're going to let this dry out now. We're going to let it dry and finish soaking into the wood, because even though we did wipe it down and it did soak through, it's still soaking. Even the stuff that's already inside the wood is still soaking through. So, but see, we have the plate here, and what this is going to look like, basically, is that. See how nice it matches? I didn't put it all the way in because that's still wet in there, but yeah, it's going to look really nice. And pretty much that's all there is to it, folks. After I do the body, we're going to do the finishing of the neck and headstock. I like to do those separately, mainly because you really want to take your time with the finishing. You don't want to rush it. So I like to do it separately just in case I don't get, like, you know, because like I said, it takes 10 minutes to dry to the touch without wiping it down. So if you mess up and you leave it for that 10 minutes without paying attention to it, it will dry with the goops and lumps and everything, and then you'll have to sand it back. But that's what I like to do separately. But look at that, folks. Oh man, the transformation is just gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. And with the fretboard now all conditioned and the frets are all cleaned, and it just looks fantastic. Now this is probably one of the most beautiful guitars I've ever built myself. That I've built. This is probably the best one so far that I've built personally. This is a master build, which means, you know, I really took my time with it. I used mainly hand tools with it. I used some great woods, and you know, it's amazing. It really is amazing. So next video, folks, is, well, it's installing hardware. Yeah. Basically that's it. I might come back, actually, now that I think about it, I might come back and we'll do the neck, so I can show you some tips and tricks about how to finish the neck without getting it on the fretboard, and you know, getting in certain areas of a headstock, like the sides, the inners here, stuff like that. But yeah, that's it for me for today. This is Nate, Apocalyptic Guitars. We had fun today. Yes. Take care.